Right. Hello and welcome to the Business Spotlight interview series. I'm your host, Khanna, and today I'm joined by Dermot McGinley, who's CEO of McGinley Support Services, and they are experts in recruitment and support services for infrastructure markets. Thank you so much for joining us today, Dermot. Would you like to kick us off with a brief background as to who you are and what you do?
Yes, indeed. And firstly, thank you very much for having me on this interview. It's really welcome. You've just introduced me as who I am. What does our business do? Yes, indeed. We have been in business as a family for 62 years.
Wow.
Our actual company that I am CEO of today actually has been trading for 45 years. Started in the late 1970s, and we trade throughout the whole of the UK. We have sales of around about just north of 80 million, and we specialize in the infrastructure market.
Wow, fantastic. Sounds like a great journey you've had. Has it been everything you thought it would be, Dermot?
If you ask what did I think it was like? Well, at 21, I'm not sure that I thought it was going to be like anything, to be honest. I think at that particular time, sorry, we might have to edit something in a second. I've got a sign coming up in front of you there, sort of on my screen. Sorry, do you want to just take that question again, if you don't mind?
Yes. So has it been how you thought it would be? Because 62 years and 45 years as yourself, it's a long journey.
Indeed, it is. Over the time, I think sort of we've evolved. I've evolved sort of in business. I was 21 years old when I started in business. I had been working on construction sites in the family business before that, but it is certainly quite different. I mean, the amount of economic sort of I suppose the good points, in a sense of sort of and the recessions that we've travelled through, and the recent pandemic that we've all actually had to live through, has certainly stretched our abilities, without a doubt. But over those years, I think you tend to sort of learn from your experiences, and it allows you to make judgment calls that are sometimes made with very little information, but with a hope that you make the majority of those calls are on the right side of success.
Wow, fantastic. What would you attribute your growth to?
Growth, in a sense, that I think it's primarily down to business integrity. I believe that reliability is absolutely paramount. I think that endeavor is important. I mean, if it goes wrong, I believe you always should put it right and should never walk away. Never. I think innovation is quite key. To be known as a solver of issues, as opposed to a business that continually creates problems for a client. So I think that I've always thought that when a client starts bringing you their problems, you know that you've succeeded because they trust you impeccably. So it doesn't always mean that they want you to get them out of a hole. Sometimes it can mean that they really do trust you to actually sort out problems.
Yes, really good. We have a lot of business owners who will be listening to this recording. What would you say, Dermot? What are some common misconceptions about running a business, and how have you addressed them?
Sorry, could you just repeat that one again?
What would you say that there are some common misconceptions about running a business? You've been running this business since you were 21.
Yeah.
So how would you address some common misconceptions?
I think without a doubt, I think success in business and life, firstly, doesn't always run hand in hand. That's the first thing, and you have to accept that and actually ensure that you address it. So, and also a misconception about many people, I think, when they start in business is they think they come into business to make a lot of money, and that will make them successful. Well, whereas actually that isn't the truth. I don't believe. I think the truth is that if you actually run a successful business, you will reap the rewards of that business. But don't start off intending to make a lot of money, because usually it doesn't work very well.
Money is a byproduct more.
It's always a byproduct. It is. I mean, I've always strived in business actually to be the best in our field, I think, and deliver a service which is uncompromised, I suppose, is a good way of describing it. and one that, and I think it's proven in the sense that sort of our client retention. I mean, we have clients that we've traded with since the early 1980s.
Wow.
Yeah, so at 40 odd years. So client retention, business resilience, financial returns, it all comes from delivering a quality of service.
Mm.
And I think that's paramount to it. You have to work very hard at it.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for that share. What would you say have been your biggest learnings, say as an employer, since you've started the business?
I think firstly, communications with your staff, keeping them informed of everything that's happening, okay, and the values that you set for them. In the sense that the values that we as a family, as a family business, so therefore my siblings and my shareholders, right? So we relate it all around our values, and we try and entrench that within our staff as well. So I think they are around the integrity, the respect. Safety is paramount in the infrastructure market. We work in some of the most risky places in the market, particularly on the rail market, where our workforce can be standing on a track and 20 seconds later, a 125-mile-an-hour train will be passing. Do you know what I mean? So safety is inclusion has been a part and parcel of our lives for decades. The word endeavour, the word that says never give up, keep pushing forward, and improvement. And I think that sort of that if you're looking to sort of staff as well, staff will follow those who lead from the front, that give guidance, that give support. But also, you must treat your staff with mutual respect, without a doubt. I don't think I've learned over the years that if anything, you never treat anybody as a second-class citizen. Whatever role they have in your business, they are all equals. They may not all be as expert as one another, but they all deserve a mutual respect.
Those were absolutely the golden words. Respecting your employees. Thank you for that. In the 45 years, you must have had a lot of challenges on the way. What would you say are your current challenges?
Current challenge at this moment in time, I think that what we've done is we've seen ourselves come through the last big hurdle, which was the pandemic. Yeah. Okay, and as we came out of that, although we had a very strong time during the pandemic, most probably opposite of many other businesses, because we were in infrastructure, and infrastructure kept ticking right the way through the pandemic. It kept the UK moving. Okay, what we did see is we've seen an enormous staff churn as we've come out. We've seen that whereas staff didn't move at all during the pandemic, people were they sat still. They were concerned at whether they go to different employees. So we've seen staff churn, processes, systems that have got weaker as we've come out of recession. And I think that what we're finding now is that we're having to rebed all of those processes that had become absolutely the norm to a business before the pandemic, and those are getting put back in again. So we're not really inventing anything new. We're actually just putting back in what we always had. And this year is proving to be successful in the sense that, but our biggest challenge at the moment is actually new business. New business is the lifeblood of any business. You can have some great accounts and they can be returning you fantastic returns, but every single contract that you ever hold will eventually come to an end. Eventually comes to an end. And when you've been in business the length we have, you know that's to be a true fact. Yes. Okay. So it's absolutely important that new business is coming in and you're winning it in a successful way. So I think new business is the big challenge at the moment, but not an unsurmountable one.
Yes, totally. It's like a balancing act, retaining your existing and having new in.
We refer to it, I'm sure many people will have heard it, we refer to it as farming and hunting.
Yes.
In the sense that you can farm everything, but eventually you have to go out and hunt a few things occasionally.
Yes, no, totally. So you have been really, it seems, very hands-on in the business and leading from the front. And how do you balance your personal life with the demands of running your business?
I think sort of in that essence, if I sort of go backwards, I suppose, firstly, sort of the early years and sort of describe what was it like in the early years when in business you tend to be a little bit more naive. Okay. Back when I was 21, I most have spent my entire time, every day of the single working week, focused on life. You know, it wouldn't have been uncommon during a working week for me to do 80 hours a week. That would just be the norm. Do you know what I mean? You know, so working 7 days a week. And for anybody who's aiming to create a sustainable business in the future, I always believe that fundamentally your family and the support that you get from them is absolutely essential. You cannot do the things you need to do to create a vision without a good, strong family support around you. Okay, because it just won't work. I think throughout my life, I've had one constant. My wife, okay, has always been there. She's kept my feet sort of firmly fixed onto the ground. Okay, I think that sort of even when I was doing those long hours during that, we always found the time to spend time with the kids. This was long before, of course, mobile phones existed. You could actually have communications and everything. So we'd always spend those times 4 or 5 times a year to get away with the kids somewhere in the world and travel. But I think now that sort of I'm in my mid-60s, I think the support of a good group of shareholders, a robust board, senior management team, and a good staff structure, they've allowed me to step back from that day-to-day role and actually sort of look at more strategic issues, look at more planning, and actually participate in more internal programs. And also, but I still like to get involved in certain external programs where maybe a particular opportunity might be a more strategic one, more complex. I enjoy the closing of the sale. It's in my blood. Do you know what I mean? I have to do it. Do you know what I mean? So occasionally, sort of, I get involved, maybe to the annoyance of some of the staff. But listen, that's the way it is. But I also think that sort of technology has greatly sort of improved the ability for me now to particularly work from various locations. It allows me to work from where I live, at my home, Hertfordshire, or whether I'm down in Dorset or in Mallorca. I can spend time with family, kids, grandchildren, but I can still work. And there is no doubt that every single one of my family will continually tell me I'm an absolute workaholic. Okay. But then I enjoy what I do, and I've done it for 45 years. And in all honesty, I would change very little. I would change very little.
This is a choice you make because you enjoy working. It's your passion, I can see. You're very passionate about what you do. You have this company's like your baby. You were 21 years old when you started. Yeah. And so it's a choice. But would you say your business has started to work without you now?
I think I know it is, and I hope it is, because in one sense that's what you want. You want it to grow. Do you want it? You want it to expand? And you mentioned it's like children. Well, that's exactly what it is. Yeah. I was chatting to my granddaughter today about her going off traveling to Thailand. Do you mean she's 18? Eventually, you have to let them go. Even grandchildren, you let go. You support them, you direct them, and you encourage them, but you can't tell them what to do every day of their life. And the same goes for a business. You need to let people make decisions. Sometimes not always the best ones, but people learn.
Absolutely. Delegate to elevate.
Correct.
Very good. Really a lot of golden nuggets shared in this short interview. And thank you so much for your time today, Dermot. It's really great meeting you and learning more about your entrepreneurial journey.
Thank you very much for having me. It's been very good. Thank you.
No, thank you very much.